Today we'll be looking at a game I even forgot existed for the Sega Saturn. Let me give this a try. Mizubaku Daibouke. Murdered it! Also known as Liquid Kids. From here on out, I'll be calling the game either Liquid Kids or The Game. This video is a continuation of an ongoing series of overlooked and forgotten Sega Saturn games. Liquid Kids is a pretty unique addition to this list, as it's actually a port of an arcade game released in 1990 by Taito, not to be confused, of course, with Tito. A tad bit late for a true arcade conversion in my opinion, but here we are. If you want to check out more hidden gems on the Sega Saturn, I'll post a link to the playlist in the video description. I also have 3 pretty cool bonus facts about the game and its history if you want to stick around to the end of the video. So without further ado, let's get started. Liquid Kids is a cutesy 2D platformer in which you play as the star of the show, Hippopo, who is a platypus, or is a platypi, or maybe it's platypussy. Yeah, let's go with platypussy. Our story is that of Hippopo living peacefully with his girlfriend Tamison and the other critters of Woody Lake. The evil clownfish fire demon invades and captures everyone except for Hippopo. Now you, Hippopo, king of the platypussies, armed with water bombs, must set out to save your friends and rescue Tamison. Popo uses a water bomb weapon as his mode of attack. You can throw these in rapid succession or hold the fire button to build up a larger water bomb, which will basically make a river to soak your enemies. Apparently all of the bad guys in the game are allergic to water because once wet with your platypussy juices... Okay, sorry, that's the last platypussy reference. Well, probably not. You just walk right through them to kick them dead. You have to be quick though because they dry out and come back to life, so you may want to kick them dead or find yourself the one dead, especially since this game is a one-hit and you're dead kind of game. Hippopo is not the most able character and the game is slow. He walks very slow, his jump is very pathetic. Although the controls and gameplay are very tight, it definitely does remind me of a platformer from the late 80s and the early 90s. What's interesting about this game is unlike many of Taito's games, it didn't get a bucket load of ports to other popular platforms of the era. It was originally ported to the PC Engine exclusively in Japan in 1992, but lost some of the arcade effects like parallax scrolling. This hasn't helped the game as it tends to be overlooked and forgotten by most, and it's a shame because it's definitely a decent 2D platformer. I'll be honest, I didn't play the original arcade game or the Saturn port until now. I got a Turbo gifted to me late in the 90s, but I had no idea what a PC Engine was. If you're looking to pick up a version of the game on somewhat more modern hardware, Liquid Kids was also included in the Taito Legends 2 collection, released on the Xbox, PlayStation 2, and shitty Windows in 2006. The arcade original version is also planned to be included as part of the Taito mini console. The game, as I mentioned before, is an arcade port of the 1990 original. I would have much rathered a remastered version instead of a straight port of the game. I guess since I have no nostalgia for the game, it would have been nice to see enhanced visuals. The option to turn on enhanced visuals or play the game in its original form would have been a cool feature to take advantage of the Saturn's powerful 2D hardware. The game does have some cool effects like changing from day or night at various points throughout the level. Either way, it isn't a bad looking game if you like the cutesy 2D platypussy genre. Let's talk a bit more about the gameplay. If it's your first time on the channel, and clearly it is, I like to point out the fact that I'm usually pretty awful at games. You probably noticed by now the amount of times I die. You may even think this asshole isn't even trying. The game can be challenging, but you should be able to beat it on your first playthrough. You get 100 continues, well at least on easy, and you'll also pick up in the exact same spot you left off when you die. The boss fights are pretty epic with massive sprites and uniquely weird bosses, but you just have to learn the patterns, which sometimes took me up to 10 credits because I'm very, very dumb. One unique thing to point out, after you defeat a boss, you get to pick between 2 different doors, which is a branching path to the next level. It's usually just a harder stage of the first level, and the more difficult path is to the right. I don't believe it happens after every boss, but I wasn't paying attention. This is pretty cool, and it's not something you saw often of games of the early 90s. Thank you for being one of the 11 people to make it this far into the video. For being so awesome, you get 3 bonus facts and the privilege to continue to hear me talk. Hippopo, the platypussy main character of Liquid Kids, makes an appearance in the 1996 Saturn game Bubble Symphony as a special character, and he is also featured in Bubble Memories, The Story of Bubble Bobble 3 as a giant bonus item. Mizubaku Daibouke was planned for a release on the Amiga by Ocean under the name Liquid Kids. Despite the game being complete, the company felt that Liquid Kids would not make a profit and the game was cancelled. However, the Amiga version's programmer released the code to the Amiga community back in 2003. Sadly, the Saturn version of the game is now very expensive due to it being released late in the Saturn's life and exclusively in Japan. I'm interested to hear your experience with Liquid Kids. Did you ever play this game? If so, on what platform? Hit up the comments and I'll chat at ya. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for all things Sega and Saturn.